Today we are talking about lifestyles of the rich and famous. You dig, with yours truly. Now remember, you might say, Marquett, why don't you give the broke people a little bit of love? Well, it turns out I have. I actually did an exclusive on patreon.com/the Saint and the Sinner entitled Lifestyles of the Broke and Aimless. And during that time, we take a stroll through the ghetto. And in the ghetto, we explain the behaviors and realities that keep a brother down. But right now, we talking about this bread, this opulence, yiddy. So welcome to my life. I try to share a little taste of it with you every now and then. But being wealthy is something you become. Some might say individuals are born wealthy, but this is not true. You may be enculturated into wealth, meaning taught the habits and mindsets to maintain it. You did. So never consider yourself a poor person, for that might be your financial circumstance, but through knowledge and discipline, you can certainly change that. And so this is, it's March Madness, you dig, all the way through April. And so I said, why don't we go ahead and grab a super player suite, you dig? We grabbed the biggest one they got. And in fact, it's such a big hotel room that it feels like it's not a hotel room or a suite, whatever. We got a whole conference table in here. So I felt like I should share this with you because when I was a young man and had not been exposed to a lot of things, these were the kind of things that I wish I could have saw. I wish I would have known existed, and I wish I saw a young fly cat such as your boy who could say, hey, it's possible for you. What I want to talk to you about are a couple habits, and I'm going to give my perspective. There was an article written, in fact, there was a book written on the habits of self-made millionaires. I'm going to go through them and tell you my perspective on it and then give you a bit of an elaboration. The number one habit of self-made millionaires is that they are readers. And your boy is definitely a reader. In fact, I have some literature with me right now. Everywhere I go, I take the bag. And in the bag, I have True Wealth, which is a book, knowledge. If you haven't read The Black Box, it just occurred to me, at the end of this book, you see how my mentality changed from an employee to a boss. And that's a meaningful transition that everyone should go through. And so being a reader is critical because you get to expose yourself to individuals, to ideas that don't exist in the impoverished community or the middle class community that you may be a part of. One thing I want to let you all know, for all of the hustlers on their come up who are strategizing and working hard, the number one trait I would recommend to you is not to care what other people think. You see, those who are successful are people who are in the game. And people who are in the game understand that you have to operate, you have to take risks, you have to work hard. Those who are in the bleachers are the ones who are watching and sneering and making foolish comments. Well, that's because they're not in the game. It's easy to be a spectator and be critical when you don't have to actually do the work. Which is to say, it's easy to box from the audience rather than in the ring. In fact, on one of my comments on my other channel, my main channel, I saw a young man wrote, "You ashy." And I thought, oh, am I ashy, darling? Well, in that case, perhaps I'll get some of this Pierre Balmain lotion and rub it all over my ashy black body. You see, you find impoverished people, their thoughts are focused on trivialities and irrelevant things. That's how I knew he's impoverished, because no one really cares about being ashy when they have bigger fish to fry. And if I am ashy, as I said, I'll rub some Balmain lotion all over my ashy, wealthy body. Pierre Balmain. Anyways, that's what I'm saying, is that all of the criticism and evil and wickedness of the masses, you'll have to ignore it. And a major trait of those who are wealthy is that they are positive. You will hear positive thoughts and words come out of their mouth. They have a can-do attitude, and in fact, they spread that to the people they're around. Well, the PayPal, marquettb@gmail.com. The reason you cannot super chat is because the Google Corporation has attempted to silence me and commit financial violence against me by blocking the super chats. But we are not worried. Use alternative means. So thank you for that meaningful question. So this is kind of the other area, and it's probably hard for you to judge distance, but this is a big enough distance that if I wanted to run some sprints in here to get some exercise, there's plenty of room. Another thing that I want to point out is you hear a lot of people have these false ideas about those who are wealthy, and mostly the ideas are false coming from people who are not wealthy. They're just making up their best guess. Something I've observed on a consistent basis among those who are wealthy is that number one, they're reliable. If they tell you they're going to do something, they actually convert and get it done. And so for me, having observed this of people who are wealthy or becoming wealthy, if I'm dealing with someone and I notice that they say that they're going to do something, however small, and they don't do it, it makes me start taking steps away from this person. Now, I can understand if someone is wealthy and famous and they're like super busy and they say, hey man, I'm gonna call you at 5 o'clock, and then they'll text, hey, I can't call at 5, I gotta call at 6. I understand they're dealing with overwhelm, right? But if you're dealing with an average regular Joe and he says, hey man, I'm gonna go do X, Y, and Z, I'll be back in 2 hours, and he's not back in 2 hours, I tend to assign that to irresponsibility, and I don't want to associate with that person. So if you ever have the privilege of being around someone who's wealthy or talented or on their way up, make sure you conduct yourself in a way that is going to endear you to them, because they don't need you. That's the whole definition of wealth, is abundance, meaning you have a lot of everything. Mostly of the things people want, which are called greenbacks. Right? I have a friend I've known since I was 13. I'm now 26. That's a beautiful thing, Harry. And it's always nice when your friends grow and evolve with you. And if you're evolving quickly, sometimes you might have to leave people behind. The key is that whether it's in romance or in friendship, you never leave behind an asset. So if someone is a bill, meaning they're an expense of time, an expense of emotion, you feel drained after dealing with them, set that person to limited association. And sometimes those persons may be family, maybe your own parents. It doesn't mean you're forgetting about them. It just means that you are stepping away so that you can pursue your goals. And let me share another fact that was pointed out about those who are wealthy. Those who are wealthy pursue their own goals, not the goals others have assigned to them. Not the goal that your culture put on you, because they say in our culture, we want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, an engineer. They pursue the goals they want, not because their parents said, hey, I'm a judge, you should be a judge or a lawyer. No, they pursue their goals, what is true and truly possible for them. Another thing that is common to the wealthy is that they exercise. I notice this to be extremely consistent. There are very few exceptions, except the government of Jersey, that fat guy, Chris Christie, disgusting individual. But most wealthy people definitely exercise on a regular basis, whether they're an athlete, a former athlete, or not. It's hugely important to them. And I think it's because they understand the mind-body connection. And the most difficult thing to do is to exercise regularly when you have so much of what people want: wealth, women. You're like, well, why do it? I don't need to, right? It's not a necessity, so you have to be that internal driving force in the mind.
He said, I have a friend I've known since I was 13. I'm 26. I think about going into business with him, but he recently married a single mom of two. Would that bad life decision spill into our business?
I am not going to say it's necessarily a bad life decision. Generally speaking, we ought to avoid lonely mothers and not assume the burdens of others. That meaning those kids that carry on suitcases, baggage that she showed up with. But she may have some exceptional qualities and some things that are unknown to us. So we might try not to judge the personal affairs of another man, but certainly it should put up your antenna as it has. So I commend you for being cognizant of that possible misstep. But in terms of business, if he's been a trustworthy, honest, hardworking, disciplined man and friend over a decade, it sounds as though history is a teacher and he may be a good partner for you. So I don't see why you shouldn't try it out. And remember, as you create businesses, sometimes you lose business partners, sometimes you fire employees, and things will evolve. Make sure that as you create structures and you formalize legal paperwork, founders agreements, you make sure you have the room to maneuver him out if that needs to be the case. Always make sure the passwords are in your name, the bank account has your name. Make sure that you're influencing and controlling as much as possible. He writes, peace to the saints looking to book a consultation soon. Do, because I had two or three, I had three today, three consultations today. And it was so enriching because I get to hear new ideas and help people whittle down their idea into something that can make them $1. In fact, the second gentleman that I spoke with, this was his second consultation, and I've been seeing his business grow, and I know he's going to be successful because he's a very hardworking gentleman. Then I had another consultation with a saint I've never met before, and so it's a pleasure to make his acquaintance, enjoy his high energy, and I could tell he had a lot of hustle, and so I was able to not only give him some good business advice, but also advise him on how. You see, knowing what to do is one thing, knowing how to do something is yet another. And so that's something that I really imparted upon him and taught him about how to focus, you see, because focus is really what will separate the artist from the businessman. Focus is what will separate the talker from the doer. And when you get into a consultation, you can get the attention that you need, based on who you are, based on your background, education, personality, and then we can look at what's realistic for you to make a buck or for you to improve your relationship, improve your image, whatever is top of mind to you. So look forward to it, Saint.
Okay, King Modi sent a question. He is an emperor, so I'm going to read this to you. He said, you help us on how to communicate with people, use my lips and make them do what I want them to do, so we can be successful in life and understand people and their desire.
Well, the first thing to understand is that it's much better to be around someone who shares a way with you, who shares values. For if you're around someone in which you have, a major difference of values, then you're going to have to do a lot of convincing, a lot of persuasion, a lot of arguing. So being that there are billions of persons on the planet Earth, you'd be wise to be around individuals that have an attitudinal affinity for you and what you believe and what you need to get done. Therefore, collaboration is smooth and seamless. You see, there are individuals whom I would come into their presence and we wouldn't vibe. As soon as I notice there's a lack of vibe, I know I'm a fish out of water. I'm not in the place I should be. So I encourage you to be around people who are similar enough to you, have skills, and are open to collaborating. You'll find the easiest way to collaborate is when there's mutual benefit. So always speaking the language of we. Always talk about how we can win, what the outcomes are that will benefit the other person. You see, too often people are so selfish and thoughtless that when they speak a word to another person, they forget that they're talking to someone else. It's like they can't get outside of their own head. People say to me, hey, Marquett, why don't you put all of your stuff on a podcast? Take all the audios, put them all on a podcast. And I'm thinking, well, tell me more. Why would I do that? And they say, well, because I like to hear stuff when I'm talking. I'm like, that's fantastic. That benefits you, but it's going to take me 40 hours of my time. And like, what's the upside for me? Do I not matter in this situation? Do I not have a lot of things I have to do? Am I about to make money? Am I about to contribute to the good of the world doing? How do I benefit? So too often people forget to be empathetic in their conversation, especially as a man. You must know that people rarely want to do anything for you as a man out of the kindness of their heart. So you must always think about that mutual benefit and speak benefit to that person and engage in reciprocity that will benefit that person that you seek to collaborate with or influence.
Okay.
Now let me get to the other traits of the wealthy. And this is based on a book that identifies rich habits. So we already said number one is they read. We also said they exercise. And number three is they hang out around other successful people. And this is a thing that you hear me mention frequently, which is birds of a feather flock together. This is very true. And then secondly, you must also understand the concept of positioning, which is that you can put yourself in certain positions, locations, environments where there's more wealth, more opportunity. And you'd be wise to try to hang around birds of a new feather if you're trying to acquire that feather, you see. Now there's another underlying concept to successful people hang out among one another. Even when I came here to this resort, there was a server walking around taking drink orders, and she says, "Would you like some water?" I said, "Yes, absolutely." And then she reached on to give me the standard water for this institution. I said, "Oh, do you have any Fiji?" She says, "No, no, we don't have any Fiji here." I said, "Okay, well, what do you have?" Which is to say, what do you have better than what you're giving all these regular people? And she says, "Oh, we have some smart water." And in my mind, I was saying, "Well, then be smart and go get me some." And she says, "Would you like some?" I said, "Absolutely, I'll have 2 of them, and you can bring them back on a regular basis, only that way." Which is to say, if there are levels to it, I want whatever's on the top level, keep bringing that back. And though it might be overpriced, I don't want to say it's a status symbol, moreover, it's me putting myself in a certain position and me being able to observe who else is in that same position. And you use these kind of tokens to identify, oh, that person's like me. That person can afford, like, these are the people I would come together with. I walked into a room, am I going to sit next to the guy with the smart water or the guy with the Costco water? Probably the smart water. So these are the subtle underlying cues that kind of give you a sense. And women do this all of the time with brands like Balmain, which personally I care nothing about this stuff, but if this luxury hotel wants to provide me with it, I'll use it. And here, let me give you another tip. That's good stuff. Thank you, Pierre. Let me give you a tip. I'm also very thrifty at the same time. So at the same time that I ask for the unnecessary smart water, let me see if this works real quick. Well, that's a fine product. I feel far more intelligent after having drank that. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yes, not only do I go for the unnecessary expenses, but I also will, when I leave this hotel, all this is coming with me. Why? Because it's free. I'm taking it with me. And every time I leave, I take the toilet paper. And let me tell you how thrifty I am. I don't even need it. I'm not even home frequently enough to use the toilet paper. We have an overflow of toilet paper at our places. But I still take it because it's a consumable. It's something you'll need to purchase at some point. And so I'd rather get it for $0.99. Or I should say a free 99. You dig? So you really need to think about that. People who are wealthy didn't remain wealthy by being frivolous and spending thoughtlessly.
We have another question about the super chat. There's more people on if you want to share.
Yes, certainly. Google Corporation, which owns YouTube, has blocked the Saint from receiving super chats in their effort to take us down. But the assassin will prevail, and for that we've rerouted. And you can super chat via Cashapp or PayPal, both of which are in the description. And as you'll see, I'll just read it off as I am reading this one off from Lee E. Sends a Cashapp. He writes, "Expand your mind by the right associations." Agreed. And in an older video that I made about the 6 habits of success, I explained that as the Saint writes association, when you associate with people wealthy or knowledgeable, persons have read books, and because they are knowledgeable, they speak wisdom from knowledge, and you are the beneficiary being able to hear that without having to turn a single page in a book or spend a single dollar. So you are wise to truly appreciate being in the presence of those who are intelligent.
He's saying like thoughts on getting a higher paying job.
Before starting an e-commerce business? I think too often we think there are necessary steps. School teaches you this kind of thinking. They teach you first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. This is nonsense. This is okay for average people. You know, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it is possible to go 1, 2, 7, 1, 2, 3, 19. This is possible. You mustn't always think in a traditional or linear way, because whatever is average is generally low quality. I say that to say this. If your goal is to start an e-commerce business, why even waste time trying to get a better job? Why not start today on how can I start putting the pieces together for this e-commerce business? What I often hear on my consultations is that I'll show someone how to make a buck and they'll say, "Oh my, that's crazy. Where did you learn that? Why did no one ever tell me that?" And it's like, yeah, well, experience taught me that. And they don't teach you this in school, probably one, because some people wouldn't understand. And two, most people don't have the guts to do it. And three, they don't know. You can't teach what you don't know. And I know very few people do know because University of Chicago, prestigious school, invited me to their business school. So I'm in the Booth School of Business and Roosevelt School of Business and all these other places lecturing because even though they're in graduate school for a business degree for an MBA, I got the business experience. I've really done it. It's not in the book. And their professors invite me because in some cases their professors have not been successful in business. Had they been successful in business, they probably wouldn't be professors because it doesn't pay enough.
Can you speak up when you talk, please?
Really?
There's one person, but it's someone that's never said anything about your volume, so.
Okay. Huh. I feel like I'm pretty loud. You make sure you don't speak up because when I'm editing it, it'd be blowing my ears out.
Thank you, sir.
Tegan writes 300 IQ. Peace to the saints. Collins, MBA, writes, peace to the saints. Thank you for the lectures. Oh, it's truly a pleasure. And I appreciate that you are aware of what this is, a lecture, an opportunity to learn, to engage and discuss, not discuss. This is not a show. You know, on YouTube, you see a lot of shows, but rather this is an opportunity to get a little bit of game that'll drive you forward more quickly to your greater destination. Because when I look around at this enormous and unnecessarily, oh, did you get the ceiling in there?
Mm-hmm.
You got the ceiling?
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. Because I love those unnecessary flares, you dig? If we're being real here, my hotel room is bigger than most people's apartment. If you have a one-bedroom apartment, this hotel room is bigger than your apartment. And to me, that's hilarious.
People say they can hear you, so.
Yeah. And another thing, like, being wealthy is about focus. You'll often hear me mentioning the same things in a recurrent way. It's not because I'm thoughtless, it's because I'm focused. Like, I even like looking at stuff like this. This is gold, right? It's just pictures of gold, raw gold. To me, this is entertaining and beautiful. You see, because this is the epitome of value. Gold has never lost its value. Gold always increases in value. You should seek to be like gold. Gold has always been sought after. You should seek to be the gold standard of whatever it is you do. And being a gold standard is being honest, being straightforward, being reliable, being shrewd, operating, getting things done, being a person of action, being creative. That is the gold standard.
Louis Smooth just pointed out that your outfit matches the interior, and he's not wrong.
He ain't wrong. And you know what? Can they see the, is it possible for them to see that view down there? Yeah, check out the pool, you dig? And let me tell you how player this is, Saints. I can literally, if I want to hear the volume from that TV, I can go to an iPad over there and put that volume on Bluetooth. You dig? There's such a major gap between how average people live and how wealthy people live. It's not even funny. But there's also a gap between the habits and behaviors of the wealthy versus the average. And to me, average means loser. And you got to keep your mentality like that or else you might slip into being average. One thing I don't love is waking up early, but I've learned to love it. I've learned to appreciate the fresh air when the sun is not even risen. I wake up before my alarm most of the time. I've learned to appreciate that. Why? Because I get a jump on the business day. I got to be in the office before my employees, so I already have a whole list of things for them to do so that when they come in, they work more efficiently and more effectively in my aim, in my goals. You dig? Let me catch up on these PayPals and Super Chats.
Cash apps, let's not
Cash
use the
apps.
word super chat.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And you see, mature people can take correction because you know what correction does? It improves you. You see, it doesn't even matter where it comes from. An 8-year-old could correct me, and if they're right, I'm going to honor them and say thank you and improve myself. If you're too sensitive to take feedback, you will never grow. You will always remain at the number 5 position, never reaching anywhere near the number 1 position. The number 1 is the guy who can grow and up his game. Yiddig. Stop being sensitive. Ahmed Naeem writes, your definition of a true winner in life. I'm glad he mentioned this because, Naeem, I am convinced that very few people actually want to win. I'm convinced that most people are comfortable where they're at or they're comfortable losing. So if you actually want to win, you're a rare bird. And the way we will know that you actually want to win is by your habits, by what you do on a regular basis, by the things you don't make excuses about. Huh? By the fact that, what time did I go to the gym last night?
Like 11 p.m.
11 p.m.? If it had to be 2 a.m., it would have been 2 a.m. In my mind, I'm an athlete, and an athlete has to work out every day. And that's what separates an athlete from an average man. You see, a winner does what they must do. When someone says, oh, what do you do for a living? My answer is, whatever it takes. That's a winning mentality. A winning mentality is one of optimism. So what I consider a true winner is the one who will do whatever it takes to win. That's the true winner. And I don't care what it takes. That's also somebody you really shouldn't want to go against. You know, the guy who'll do anything to win. That's a hard person to fight against. But you also have to know that you don't need to win at everything. Only participate in the things you need to win at and know what things are important to win at. Not every game is a game you should play. So we got that one.
We have a Sean who said he sent a message on PayPal.
All right, I'm going through PayPal as we speak. SX Moneymakers says, tuition, brother, you still in exile? Well, that's an interesting term, Saint. In one way, yes, we are in exile, but we may be in exile from the idiots, right? When you really think about it, if someone locks you out of something that you don't want to be in, really, you're not in exile. What it is doing is it's forcing us to create and innovate. And when I talk on my consultations about business, I always tell people there's really only 4 things you can do in business. You can invent, which is to create something no one's ever done before, like Benjamin Franklin. You know, I had the fortune of inventing an effortless attendance technology. The world had never heard of such a concept. Now there's a couple copycats, but this is very rare. You can invent or you can innovate, meaning take something that exists and make it better, like YouTube. Take something that exists and make it better, meaning allow freedom of speech. Or you can improve quality, which is, you know, everyone makes cars, but if you want rear hinged door cars in 2021, you got to get the Rolls Royce. That's the only group that does it. And very few people are saying, how can I make a $500,000 car? No one's saying that. So if you want the quality, you have to go to Rolls Royce. That's a selling factor in a product. By the way, check out my story on YouTube or IG. You get to check out the Rolls Royce with the purple guts. You dig. And then the last thing is price competition. You are creating a product that is pretty much a duplicate of another product. It's much cheaper though. This is the easiest way to get into business. It's also the easiest way to get taken out of business. So if you must make your foray into business in that way, it's okay, but you'd rather not. So anyways, these are the 4 things. And so I say that to say this. When I was unable to get a job as a young person, I created a job. If I'm unable to operate within the YouTube sphere, I'll go out of the YouTube sphere. And here's the thing about being a truly wealthy man. You have value like that. You are gold, and you can take your value anywhere and create. And so we shall. And this is a great opportunity because in this case, we get to pull some money out of Google's pocket because we don't have to split a super chat with them. So before, I didn't even think about it because I didn't care. I come on here and people pay the tuition just to let me know they're serious about their question. And also, I'm allergic to broke people. Anyways, I don't really want to talk to them or hear from them. You dig? So the super chat is just a means to show me you're serious about what you have to ask. And now we move it on to Cash App and PayPal, which means we take money out of the Google Corporation's pockets. And the master Sun Tzu writes in The Art of War, quote, 1 peck from enemy provisions is like 10 carried from home, which is to say 1 peck, 1 nibble from enemy food sources is like 10 carried from home, which is to say if you can eat, that's fantastic, but if you can eat from the flesh of your enemy, that is the best meal. because it strengthens you while simultaneously weakening them. The Master Sun Tzu. If you've not read The Art of War, don't read it because it's written in metaphor and allegory. So if you need it to be broken down, I highly recommend you check out my video on patreon.com/The Saint and the Sinner or www.thesasn.com where I break down The Art of War by the Master Sun Tzu.
Okay, They Call Me Low said, are you reading PayPal questions as well? I believe the one you just read was PayPal.
Yes, that one was from PayPal as well.
So yes, both PayPal and Cash App.
Absolutely. Prestigious Marketing LLC on PayPal writes, peace to the saints. Thank you, Marquett, for what you do. How do you maintain focus in an environment that doesn't support your dreams? There's more to read, but I want to say number one, the environment, if you achieve your dreams, does the environment get paid for that or do you get paid for that? I'm pretty sure you get paid, which means you need to work hard on your dreams, not the environment. No one is going to cherish you or do for you. You have to do for self, Saint. So forget all that. The environment is out there. You live in here. This is where you live in your head. This is where you must be strong in your mind. He writes, quote, I enjoy reading and learning new things daily. However, my area is full of degenerates and immorality. What advice would you provide to overcome? Now, I agree. I've been there, Saint. I've been around people who are low IQ, and at that time, we didn't have YouTube. I just assumed that this is the world. I didn't get a chance to watch someone like me be in a place like this and invite you in. Such a privilege you have. So reading is great. I'd read autobiographies of great men. The autobiography of Benjamin Franklin is one such work, a masterwork, in fact, very inspirational. Further, you don't have to associate with these degenerates, and as long as you have public transportation, I'm sure you can get on a bus and take no more than a 30-minute ride to an area of affluence and set up in a Panera Bread or a Starbucks and hop on your computer and get to work on your dreams and goals. So that's what I advise you to do, is put yourself in the right position, whether you have to, meet a well-to-do young lady of your age who can introduce you to some new experiences, but positioning is key. But remember, you cannot blame the environment out there, and you should be glad that that's not the deciding factor because you have no control of that. You only have control of this right here, which is your strongest weapon, your thinking cap. Thank you for your question, Saint. Carrying on. We have a PayPal from Carlos. He writes, peace to the saints. Hope all is well. Internally, Quet. I keep good habits as you always advise us, but I'm having trouble finding that certain drive. I notice this doesn't allow me to perform as well as I know I can, and I don't find that excitement I usually have when getting to work. Any advice on finding that drive once again? Well, number one, we're driven by our goals. You see, you must have something that's exciting to you. At a certain level, saying I want to make fill in the blank number of dollars, it becomes meaningless. Because at the end of the day, the lifestyle of a guy who has $5 million is not that different from the lifestyle of a guy who has $50 million or $500 million. There's only so many things you can do, right? Like, I personally have no desire to own a yacht. So like, why would I want that? Anyways, so I say that to say the dollars and the numbers become uninspiring. What's still inspiring is, like, for me, instead of getting expensive cars, I like to get rare cars. That way, the whole acquisition process of getting the car is fun. I get to enjoy that whole thing as well as the car that no one has. So that's one thing. The second thing is your peers. If you're hanging around bums, of course you're not going to feel drive and willpower. If you're hanging around people who are achieving things, you might be on IG, for example, and look at Marquett's story and say, did Marquett just buy another Rolls Royce? When you say that in your head, if you're Marquett's friend, you might start thinking like, damn, bro, I got 2 Rolls Royce? Does bro have $1 million in cars? That might make you want to start hustling, right? So the key is who you surround yourself with. That will drive your pace. And then if you really want greater things in life, whether it's a greater woman or a greater living space or greater opportunity or just people to treat you with more regard, because I can promise you, my experience in this place is high quality because people know I got it. You dig? To the point where Bridget was even remarking earlier. I don't know. Do you mind if I share your little water story?
No.
Bridget was remarking earlier. She was saying, "Do you think they'll give me this water, or is this only you can get this?" And I said, "I'm sure they'll give you the water if you just ask for it." But she's aware of the fact that I'm getting privileged treatment versus everyone else in this resort. Like, I'm favored in this resort. And you can tell by the fact that we have a view here, we got a view there, we have a view there, which means we have 3 whole walls of windows. It's a corner enormous suite, and it's so big that when you're counting down the numbers to come down to this suite, it skips 4 numbers. Yeah, it skips 4 numbers and then comes to this number. So I say that to say, you got to figure out how you want people to treat you. What do you want for yourself? Who are you hanging out with? These are the things that drive you. Life is a game. Either you're in the fast lane or you're broke down on the side of the road. Where do you want to be? Man, you got to get that hustle, bro. I'm telling you. When I didn't have anything and I would drive by a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, which was rare, but when I did, I would always look to see who was in there. Because I wanted to look at them and know in my mind, you are no better than I am. And it was true. And now when somebody pulls up to look and see who's in the Rolls, it's the big homie. Oh, it's beautiful.
I think you have more PayPals.
I do have a PayPal from Will Olney. He writes, appreciate the game, Marquett. I would like to know your best tip for reprogramming the subconscious mind as to improve / shift one's self-image. Also, how do you thrive in situations under pressure with confidence? Number one, I don't think you necessarily have to be so concerned with the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is messed up, right? Sometimes you got to figure out, well, how do I deal with the conscious mind? Obviously, you're consciously aware of your thoughts being not the ones you want. So a part of that is monitoring your speech. Monitoring your thoughts is difficult, but monitoring your speech is a little easier to do. And when you start speaking out positivity and light in like it's your only way of thinking, the world will react to you and let you know that you are different. For example, I heard someone tell a young lady, "Oh, don't be negative." Well, they were telling her not to be negative in a negative way. I'd rather state the affirmative. Be positive. I'm always looking at what is the brighter side. How can we enjoy this? How can we smile in the face of death? You ask, how do you thrive in situations under pressure with confidence? Well, here's the thing. I heard a gentleman who was in the military and special forces. He said, when you come upon a residence in the Middle East and you must go into the residence uninvited, knowing that there are potentially killers in there who want to kill you, well, you got to kick the door down and you got to run in there. And the first man, the guy in the front of the line is going to be the one who's going to take that oncoming fire. It's like you can kick that door down and look around and creep in there and get shot down and look like a sucker and a coward. Or you can kick that door down and run in there and get shot down and look like a G. Either way, if the guy's in there with the gun and he's going to shoot somebody down, you're first in line. You're going to get shot down. Do you want to go down with the bullets in your chest or the bullets in your back from running like a coward? The bullets are going to be there. You want them in the chest or the back? I actually kind of added that in. We might need to write that down because I like that. You want the bullets in the front or the bullets in the back from running? You did. Which is to say, if you're going to win, you're going to win. If you're going to lose, you're going to lose. Either way, go out like a champion. The question is, how do you win while you're losing? Huh? How do you win while you're losing? I always keep a smile on. It's who I am. I'm always enjoying. It's who I am. I'm always talking crazy. It's who I am. For example, I was at Johns Hopkins Medical playing basketball. Ruptured my Achilles tendon while playing basketball. I was talking crazy when it happened and when I was on the ground and they were going to get that wheelchair to roll me out of there, to roll me straight to the hospital, because we're at Johns Hopkins Medical. The hospital was right there. I was still talking crazy. I'm on the ground talking about, you lucky, I was just about to do this, this, and this. Don't even trip, I'll be right back. Maybe the doctor will let me out early to come kill you off. Like, I'm still talking crazy because I really am that. Question is, how do you become that? You become that by discipline. You become that by relaxing and letting who you really are out. You become that by knowing life is a game with many challenges and most of them will not kill you. So why are you acting like everything is extinction level? If you fail, you'll die. Nah, you won't die. You'll just get another try. Somebody quote that and DM that to my inbox. I might have to put that on a t-shirt. If you fail, you will not die. ... You will just get another try. That is the nature of life. It's amazing. Wow, that's somehow poetic. Get back to these PayPals. PayPal, Pharrell Berry writes, peace to the saints. I have a question. Can I level up starting working minimum wage? I'm saving my money, to be honest. I have a little over 300 and I'm 17. I'm striving to be the best version of myself. Thanks. Of course. I mean, you got to start somewhere. Making some money is better than making no money. Believe that. And there is a wise commentary on savings, which says that if you make a habit of paying yourself first, which is to say to put away in savings 10% of everything you earn, no matter how little you earn, and you get the habit of putting away 10% when you're only making $10, that means you'll be able to put away 100,000 when you're making $1 million. And that habit will benefit you. As has been said, I save my money so that one day it can save me. Saving money definitely has some importance, and starting at age 17, you will surely benefit from that habit. You know, being disciplined and staying away from bad decisions is so important, and you're fortunate to start early, but if you start late, it's fine. When I was a kid, I was so straight arrow that my grandmother would say, when Mark would go out with the kids or be in the neighborhood or be at someone's house or even at school, and they'd give all the kids candy, I would wash his clothes and the candy would still be in his pocket. As a child, I didn't even eat candy. That's a higher level of discipline and focus. If a 7-year-old can do it, why can't you?
We have Jelani Jackson said I'm late. What's the PayPal?
PayPal is MarquettB as in boy at gmail.com. So it's marquettb@gmail.com. And it's also in the description. I'm gonna go ahead and hit some of these Cash Apps.
Ken, I think we have one more PayPal.
And then I'll go back to the PayPal. Lee E writes, LeBron equals 1 million. Marquette equals $1 million mind. Hashtag Sassin. Oh, true indeed, Saint. Decorus Brown. Man, you got a clean lineup. That's crazy. I don't even think my lineup was that clean when I was like 15. I don't even think I ever had a lineup this clean. It's crazy. Wow. Hey, Decorus, bruh, shout out to your barber, dog. Anyways, he writes that Rolls Royce is disgusting in a good way, bruh. But I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I've fallen out of love with the modern Rolls Royce. You know, Bridget likes the Cullinan. You like the Cullinan, right? Which is their SUV. It's $500,000. It has these seats that come out of the trunk, so you can kind of like tailgate and sit in the back of your car, like hanging out of the trunk. It's pretty cool, but it's alright. Like, I personally don't think Rolls Royce should be making SUVs. That's really not what the company should be about. But I think it's the nicest car in their lineup now. Would you say?
Yeah, it was better than the Ghost for sure.
Better than the Ghost. It's disappointing. Romario writes, peace to the Saints. Will there be a conference in the near future? Yes, Saint. Actually, there will be a conference at the end of next month in Las Vegas on the 24th and 5th. Everyone got an email of the dates. Amir writes, tuition. Truly appreciate it. Carlos is back. He writes, peace to the Saints. Rudy in the building writes, tuition from Scottsdale, AZ. Shout out to the Saint. Eric writes, peace to the Saints. Question from Eric. I on YouTube.
He is right here.
Okay, talk to me.
He said, "How to find success later in life. I'm in my late 20s and I'm not balling at the level I would like to. Can I still be a player in the game in my 30s and 40s?"
Bruh, you, I was talking to a saint on a consultation earlier today, 26 years old. And the saint said, like, something when I was young or since I'm starting late. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about, bruh? You're still young. Man, like, what you guys don't realize is that everything lives up here. For example, my last boxing match, the kid was like 19.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, kid was 19. I still won, right? Like I still won. 19 should be your physical prime. But the way you live is going to define the quality of your thoughts, the quality of your body, and your ability to manifest that into outcomes. Stop worrying, trust me. And with the way healthcare is going, like you're young until you ain't young, right? Young is how you live.
He said, "Good to hear I'm 27."
There you go, bruh. And in fact, when I was was that last year? I was at the office in Springfield, in Missouri.
Yeah.
Was that last year or the year before?
2019, year before.
Yeah. 2019, I was at my office in Springfield, Missouri. I'm out with a gentleman named Seth.
Can we walk in there?
And you know, Seth and I are out walking around in this evening area, and there are two little females that just kept following us around, kind of. And we stop and have a chat with them, and then essentially one of them asked me, she says, "What year are you?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, what year in college are you?" I was like, "I'm not in college. I'm a grown ass man. College. A, I'm not in college, and B, I'd never go back." This chick was very young, let's say that. So I say that to say, you know, at that time, I was way out of college. So your youth comes from how you take care of yourself, but also comes from your spirit. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is, are you happy? That's what you got to focus on. It's like, are you happy? Are you enjoying yourself? Now, every day I wake up and I think, I get to be Marquett Burton again. This is a good day. And that's really what you all should be trying to get to, is where every day you wake up like, I get to be me. This is a good day. And don't let anything take you out of that. There was a young lady I encountered. I could tell she was mentally unwell, and she was trying to be involved with me. I told her, "I can't be involved with you." She said, "Why?" She said, "Give it a chance." I said, "I can't give it a chance because I'm happy. People want to be me. If I was dealing with you, I wouldn't want to be me." That's the key. Keep the garbage out of your life, you dig? Keep beautiful things in your life. Keep beautiful people in your life, people who benefit you. So what you'll see is that, you know, and you guys experience it. There are certain individuals who are consistent in my life. That's because they bring goodness. They're good people and they bring goodness. Orion Stoner writes, "Peace to the saints." Peace to the saints. Stoner is a funny last name. I don't know if that's his real last name or he's trying to indicate something. But on my last video, you saw all kinds of people come out of the woodwork in that video in which I said, blah, 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 smoking is trash. And people would deny the clear and obvious truth to protect their ego rather than saying, "Yes, Marquette, you're right. I have this characteristics which you and science have identified as bad, but I'm struggling to improve it and just stay at that truth that I'm struggling, but I know that I'm wrong." We're in an era where people do wrong and claim what they're doing is right. They lie to themselves and to others, thinking that if they continue lying, people will get confused and believe them. Well, I promise you, I will not ever believe you. I promise you, I will not ever let you wallow in lies and collaborate with that. No, I'm here to keep it real with you. Adrian Mora, he writes, "I will one day be in the phantom. Peace to the saints." Hey, you know what? Adrian, I want to see you in the phantom. I want you to pick me up in the phantom. You dig? And that's what I tell the saints in consultations is the greatest way you can compensate me is to ball out. I want you to ball out so hard you can give me a phantom. You heard me? I want you to be so wealthy you can say, "Quet, like, bruh, take the keys. This is $500,000 car. $500,000. It's yours. I don't need it. I'll go get something else. I'm gonna get a spaceship." I want you on that level. You did. I want you so wealthy you have enough surplus and excess to give. To be able to give is the greatest display of wealth. I want you on that level, Saint. Yeah. And this is what I want to all the wealthy men. When you get to that level, get your boy a Phantom 5 or a Phantom 6. Those are the antique ones. They're very rare. And I want it to be a concourse car, which is to say, in the same condition it rolled off of the production line. And I want you to rip everything out and put the latest stuff in. So the latest, whatever the latest engine is, if we're on electric cars, everything electric. But I want you to maintain the integrity of all the old world appearance on the inside. You know, make sure we got the Bluetooth and all that good stuff. But it still looks old, but it has all the new stuff. Do that for me. That's going to be about 1.5 million minimum. Carrying on. Jabri came through on Cash App. He writes, "Man, fuck that little stupid hoe. You." Actually, I probably shouldn't have read that like that because you probably just.
Let me know if we're back. It looks like we may be.
Okay, now that's interesting because I thought we were on Wi-Fi. Are we not on Wi-Fi?
You said this. I didn't see the phone before we got on there.
Yeah, no, we should be.
We're back.
That's curious. Okay, Saints, apparently the technology may be lagging. I couldn't imagine why, because we have so many windows here.
They said we're good now.
Okay, we're obviously quite high up. That could be an issue, but I'm shocked. Let me know if you guys heard me read Jabrizi's Cash App, because I read it word for word.
I think they did because Louis Smooth said, "LOL, YouTube said no cussing, cut that clip."
Right.
And Lil Cash Kid said, "As soon as you read that comment."
That's right. That might not even be Jabri. That might be YouTube. Send me that Cash App. Anthony writes, "Tips on what to wear with loafers." You know, I've not worn any loafers in a very long time, but when I did wear loafers, I used to get some slim cut, like, you know, Dockers style khakis or slim cut pants. And, you know, that generally looks good, or even some slim fit jeans. Now, I don't wear loafers nowadays, I just wear slippers. You dig? Orion Stoner writes, "That's my real last name." Shout out to Mr. Stoner. And you better not become a substitute teacher, bro. They gonna roast you in the hood. Lee E writes, "Tuition big homie, Ferrari 458 Spider." Now, you know what? I like the feeling of pulling up in a fast car, top down. I like the feeling, but I don't like the comfort of the ride. You know, I think I've just got spoiled. I like to play the back seats in the lap of luxury. You dig? Fast cars are not as comfortable, and you for sure can't take down a female in a two-seater or one of these fast cars. Trust me, I've done it. It's just not comfortable. So I recommend you avoid it if you can. But in the back of the rolls, bro, you got room to play. But absolutely, man, pull up on your boy in that Rari with the engine roaring because it's forward. The Transcendent Driver writes, "Peace to the saints. Will message in the live." Appreciate it, saints.
I have not seen that, so if you want to message it, I will read it.
Yes, and Jabri came in strong, for the record. I guess you can curse when you're coming in that strong. And we do need to start winding down because we actually have a number of items to take care of before our live tonight. So saints, do check it out. It'll be on the main channel at 9 p.m. Jabrizi Magic will be here with us, and we're talking about Derek Janky Janks.
Pacific time, 9 p.m. Pacific
9 p.m.
time.
Pacific time, LA time, where the sun always shines. Las Vegas, the bright lights in the big city, the real place that never sleeps. Okay. J. Marco writes, aka Saint Marco, Peace to the saints. Marco, appreciate it, saint. Always good to see the consistency in the community. Peace to the whole sass and it is. All right. Let me hit these PayPals as we wind down. Confidence writes, I had to send you this for that military analogy. I recorded it. I love your mentality, bro. Please, what is your consultation for 30 minutes? Saint, you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. On the Emperor level, you get 40 minutes. On the consultation, you book through www.thesasn.com. You can book an hour or an hour and a half. The 30-minute is tough because on the 40-minute, we often don't have enough time. On the hour and a half, we end up going overtime, especially when we're talking about business, because there's just so much information to convey. So on the third, if we created a 30-minute option, that would probably just be like a social one, like literally just conversational. Because there's not really enough time to go through goals, to go through a little bit of your background, to go through business, and really give you some practical stuff. So thank you very much for that, Saint.
Okay, Dominic Sethman, he is the transcendent diver.
Yikes, please forgive me.
And he said, what's a realistic time frame for someone trying to generate a steady 60K a year on their own merits?
Bruh, it depends on so many factors. He says, what's the reasonable time frame?
Yeah.
Tomorrow? I mean, don't teachers make, some teachers make 60K, don't they?
He said on their own merit, though. Is he saying like his own?
Like as a business? I'm gonna need a little more context because I can't remember now, but I did teach for America. So I was a teacher when I came out of university. And I want to say I feel like I was making at least 55,000 per annum. And historically, people say teachers don't make a lot of money. In my opinion, they're mostly overpaid if you're talking about public school teachers. So I think that's very doable. I need some more information about you, Saint, but really 60,000 means different things, different places. 60,000 in Los Angeles means very little. 60,000 in Mississippi means a lot. So the jobs may offer more in Los Angeles, but the cost of living is higher. And further, in terms of your own merit, well, with a good product or service, primarily product, you could clear 60,000 a month. So it all depends. There's a lot of variables that we need to go through.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead through, make sure we hit these Cash Apps and these PayPals, and then we shall wrap. Okay, I'm scrolling through. I think I have all the PayPals. I'm just going back through. I see Jelani Jackson writes, peace to the saints. I'm trying to create another source of income this year. Hallelujah. Preferably from product development. True indeed. Any advice or ideas on where to start? Well, if you've never developed a product before, I advise you to start with joining someone's team who's developing a product. Right now, I'm working with Shayla, who's one of the saints. She recently did a consultation, and similar to yourself, she's not developed a product before, and so there's a product that I had under development, so I'm kind of making her the CEO of that product. When it comes to fruition, it will be largely because of her efforts, and the benefit to her is that she will have learned the whole process of creating products and services. And that is what turns you into a business person, into a boss. It allows you to create a stream of income. So that might be a wise move for you. But certainly getting practice before you just try to hop in the game is a wise thing.
Okay, so Dominic Sethman, transcendent diver, he said business ownership. So like he wants to make 60K like on his own business.
Yeah, no problem.
What's a good time frame?
It depends on the product though, right? Because for example, if you're selling chewing gum and you're selling it for $2 a pop, which is probably expensive, you're gonna have to sell a lot of chewing gum. Conversely, if you create a product and it's expensive, like maybe you produce leather backpacks, it costs you $50 fully loaded expenses to produce a high quality genuine leather backpack, and you sell it $250 as a luxury item. Well, you don't have to sell a lot of backpacks to make $60,000 a year. So it really depends on what you're doing and how well you do it. For there are levels to everything. There are people who sell cars, they just sell a couple, and there are people who are Toyota and they sell them around the world. There are car brands you don't even know about. You don't even know they exist, but they do. They just don't sell very well, so they're only in their country of origin. Will Oni writes, Marquette, appreciate the game. I'd like to know your best tip for reprogramming the subconscious. Oh yeah, we addressed that one. Wait, get the cash out shortly. Jordan Hollifield writes, paying tuition. Your efforts have helped many people like myself grow and maintain a life of abundance. I appreciate you sharing that with me. It means so much, and I really need to find a strategic way to share all of these testimonials, because the work that I'm doing and that we are doing within Assassin is so transformative. Giving people an easier route to prosperity and to happiness, that is priceless, and it's just so rare. And so we need to definitely invite more people into this thing of ours. And I appreciate you sharing that with me. And Bridget, just take a look at those clouds over there. Can they see that? Can you see it from here? You'll have to go over there. Are the clouds coming up?
Now I can from right here.
Okay, yeah. It's gorgeous. And Saints, every day I'm thankful for the lifestyle I've been able to create and share with those I love. And it's come a long way, you dig? I grew up in Section 8 government subsidized housing, a housing project, in poverty, living in the same one bed or studio apartment in the same bed as my mother as a child. And we've come so far. And it didn't happen by chance. It happened by focused thought, hard work, self-belief. And so when I get to enjoy opulence and luxury, I know that it's because I deserve it. And when I get to look up at the ceiling and think, wow, that was completely unnecessary for you guys to take out the time to decorate the ceiling, but you did it anyways, and I appreciate that. So I want you guys to know that, hey, if you make it, it's because you deserved it. And when you're at home thinking, oh, I don't feel the drive, I don't feel the get up and go, like, I'm not feeling motivated. You can be unmotivated and sit on the first floor of a broken down motel, or you can be motivated and come to a place like this where half the things in here I don't even know how to work because the technology is crazy. It is. So life is filled with choices. Now let me continue reading this.
Sean was the prestigious marketing person, by the way. So it'll help if you tell us your YouTube name when you let us know your PayPal Cash App name. Yes.
I'm now taking risks I would have never thought possible thanks to you, and peace to the saints. See, this is a beautiful thing from Mr. Hollifield, because if you don't take risks, there's no big payoff. Big risk, big payoff. But it must be calculated risk. And you must keep on taking the risk, because hey, guess what? Guess what? Life will continue challenging you. I promise you. You will certainly win and then lose and then have to fight to win again. Aaron Washington writes, 17 years old, senior in high school, starting a clothing brand. Any advice? Also advice on staying focused. I often tune into your live streams on being on the internet at times rather than working on my clothing brand. Tip on staying focused. Well, number one, what you realize, especially as a male, so much of the things you really want in life, whether it's a better car, a better woman, are all tied to your success. So if you ever go out and get rejected by a woman, think about, is she gonna reject the guy who pulls up in the Rolls Royce? Or is she gonna let him win? You did. They might lie out of their mouth and say status doesn't matter, wealth doesn't matter, but we know it does matter. So next time you get rejected by a broad, next time you go somewhere, you have to look at a price tag and there's something you really want, but you really can't afford it. Next time you see somebody else that is someone you know to be your inferior, drive by in a car that you can't have, or get favorable treatment because there's somebody and you're nobody. You think about how important success is to give you distinction in this world. and then you get to work on your goals. Further advice for a clothing brand, yes, the advice is to, with all businesses, be successful with those around you. Clothing is one of the most difficult verticals. I never recommend people go into the clothing vertical unless they have a ready-made audience. Like, so, for example, if you want this tank top, you can go in the description and you can get this tank top as a man. You can get it in black, or this blue. As a woman, you can get it in this navy blue. You can get it in black, and you can also get it in neon pink. Um, but clothing, you should make sure you have a ready-made audience. And number two, you should also leverage the people around you selling to them. Number three, you also have to make sure that you're doing something wildly different. Because clothing is such a crowded vertical, has nearly no barrier to entry, you must really be doing something remarkable to be successful. Okay, carrying along. And by the way, you should use the friends and family when you send through PayPal. Because, for example, if you send $1, PayPal takes 33 cents when you send it as a service. So 67 cents will come through. So if you use friends and family, I think they send $1. If you send $1, it sends $1. Okay.
Jelani said he'll be sending a message. Thank you both for your time. Always learn something when I tune in.
Absolutely our goal.
AL, sorry.
Writes, I set up a date with this chick on Monday. Oh, this is a long one. Wow, okay. He writes, Ivan writes, I set up a date with this chick on Monday and we're supposed to meet up on Saturday. Okay. I texted her on Wednesday saying I had some free time to FaceTime for about 15 minutes and she never responded and has yet to respond as of yet. No response to a text is a bit of a pet peeve of mine. If she hits me up on Saturday wanting to go on a date, should I go and discuss that I won't tolerate that? Telling her this calmly and not showing her anger or frustration? Or should I just leave her on red and drop the whole situation? We are classmates for context, so I see her in person each Monday. Peace to the saints. Well, thank you for sharing this with us, saints. Number one, the master Sun Tzu in The Art of War writes, do not punish soldiers before they become loyal. Now, mind you, what I'm about to tell you is in direct contradiction to what most quote-unquote dating coaches, pickup artists would tell you. You see, they don't deal with a volume of women, and that's why they get these goofy ideas. They've not been successful around the planet Earth with women. So let me tell you, as someone who's lived in many countries, dropped through a multitude other, and have had a good sample of all of what God has created, shall we say. As the Master Sun Tzu records, do not punish soldiers before they become loyal. What he means to say is that if you punish a soldier who is not yet loyal to you or dedicated to you as a leader, when you punish them, they just receive it with resentment and anger. There is no emotional impact of the punishment, and they will abandon you. Conversely, if you give the soldier time to become connected to you and build rapport, when you punish them, they're punished twice as hard by the punishment itself and by the emotional impact of disappointing someone they care about. Which is to say, if the young lady's not built an emotional attachment to you, your disappointment means nearly nothing to her. So it would be wise to, if you're interested in her at any level, first decide what level that is. A, do you want to slay her? B, do you want to have a relationship with her? Or C, fill in the blank. If you just want to slay her, it doesn't really matter if she's responsible or responsive, because all you need to do is get her to lay down with you. And that's quite a simple thing. Enjoy that and then kick her to the curb, or enjoy that and only do that with her. Don't text her, don't take her on dates. Just, make her serve it up to you. You dig? Now, if you have an interest in her, don't let your emotions overcome you. What happens is when someone doesn't respond quickly to us, we feel unimportant. We feel like we're a low priority, which may be actual fact. Don't rage against the truth. The saints, we should be nourished by the truth. And so when we find out what the truth is, we accept it. And we also accept people for who they are. She may be inconsiderate, irresponsible, and immature. She may have not been raised right. Or she may just not be impressed or interested in you. Or she may have a whole bunch of other guys she's dealing with at the same time. Or all of the above. Who knows? But at the end of the day, if you do go out on a date with her, certainly if you express any disappointment, you would tell her calmly and say, hey, for me, it's easier to have responses timely. I understand you might be busy, but not responding at all, I find to be a little bit disrespectful. I know that we're not close or anything, but I just wanted to let you know that. And, if that's hard for you to do, I'll just not text you. I just want to express that to you. And you just leave it at that. You need to convince her of anything. You're just stating your position. But generally, anger about that comes from a pretty weak position. Address it. The creed of the assassin. Repeat after me, knowing that this is true of you. I am going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable, and I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Peace to the saints.